Everybody, this is Zach. I'm your energy healer, and we're going to do a pick a healing. So you should see 4 numbers pop up on your screen, right down there. Just take a second and see which number you're drawn most to. Don't think about it too much. Let your intuition guide you. If you want, you can hold your finger over each one and then just see which one you get a little buzz on. And that will correspond with the energy healing that I have saved for you. So, I'll give you a second to choose. Okay. So if you picked healing number 1, this is going to be your session. Alright, let's go ahead and take a deep breath in. Hold for a second. Release. Send everything out down through like a large column all the way into the center of the earth. Once you reach the center of the earth, go ahead and breathe in, bringing in the stabilization, the security, the continuity, the steadiness of the earth. Breathe that up through that column that goes all the way into the bottom of your feet. Gradually notice it going all the way through your body, feet, legs, hips, lower torso, upper torso, chest, down your arms, fingertips, into your head. Ask yourself, how do I connect to pure source even stronger? Okay, cool. That just kind of gets everybody in the right state. So now I'm going to read the group and see what the block is that we're going to clear for you today. Okay, it feels like a relationship thing. Let's see if I can get a little bit more. So for this group, it feels like you're just like not receiving the amount of love that you deserve. It's like not being acknowledged. It's like people not seeing you in the spotlight. Let me see if I can get a metaphor that's good for everyone. Okay, it's like you want the spotlight, but you don't. So let's go ahead and clear this one. So let me just tap in on the group level and figure out where this came from, because with every single energy healing, every energetic pattern that you take on, you brought it on for a reason. So let's see if we can put you in touch with that reason so then you can let it go nice and easily. So generally speaking, this feels like it has to do with your connection with your mom or a maternal figure, whether that was a grandparent, mother, sister even. Yeah, it's just like that connection. That's like where the damage came from. You might be feeling me working on you already. What I do is I use frequencies and I scan everyone, read their patterns, and use frequencies to switch out the patterns. But so just in case you're feeling a little different. Yeah, so it just feels like wanting to be seen by mom. Like the way I can relate to this is like as a kid, I would always be like, Mom, watch this, watch this. And she would always, most of the time she'd watch, But like as a kid, we have an insatiable appetite for how much attention we want from our parents. And then what happens, we grow up and then we're not getting that level of attention, and then it's like, what the hell, this doesn't match what I thought was going to happen here. And then there can be some heartbreak in that, which leads to that pattern of, I want the spotlight, but actually I don't want it. You want it because there's that raw feeling that's good, but then you don't want it because you don't want to be let down by saying, look at me, and not have anybody look. So that's showing up for this group predominantly in their intimate relationships. So if you're dating someone and you've been together for a while, you may be feeling that. If you are single and you're dating around, you might be feeling that. Yeah, but it definitely feels like a romantic relationship type thing. So let's get in contact with like the reason that you took the pattern on in the first place. Yeah, it just feels like this group has a really strong desire to like put themselves out there, but they shut it down. And it's like you just shut it down and it's just like kind of completely blocked off. Like hiding the sun in your pocket. So first thing we have to do is we got to heal the younger you's sadness with the heartbreak of like saying, mom, or mom, grandma, whoever, look at me, and then them like not looking at you. So just like notice whatever memories come up, whatever pictures come up, whatever metaphors come up. Don't worry if it's like exactly an accurate memory or not, just kind of go with whatever pops up for you. And for a large portion of us, when you see that memory, step out of yourself, go into the person or thing that wasn't paying attention to you. And then just notice if it was personal. For the majority of us, it was not personal. It may have felt personal to that younger you, but maybe mom was on the phone, maybe grandma was, baking some waffles or something, or cooking some waffles. Yeah, they're just busy, and it wasn't you that they didn't want to look at. It's just like they just had too much other stuff going on, and if they could have, they would have given you that attention. So as you come in contact with that feeling, you might get a little emotional. And then now we're going to clear it out. You'll feel me intensifying the frequencies a little bit. So if you get hot, dizzy, whatever, that's okay. We're going to clear and delete that across all time, space, reality, and dimensions. Yeah, I'm feeling heart. It's the yellow chakra, that one, and then the red one. So I'm just going to clear those out for everyone here. If you're wondering like, what the hell am I doing? How does this work? Don't worry, I'll put up other videos that explain. And then we're going to insert a new pattern. We're going to shift that pattern from that old one into one where, here, let me wait for it to come in. Okay, so the new pattern is people are so happy to see me as long as I allow them to. So it's like they'll respect your space, but you'll start noticing that you'll like be telling a story or something, and when you're used to people around you kind of like shutting off and not being interested anymore, they're gonna like pay way more attention, and you're gonna be like Like, how'd you get so engaged? So if that's okay with you and you want that pattern, then you just allow it to come in. Okay. All right. Just note that if you have any emotions come up, it's okay. Emotions, it's just kind of that pattern leaving you. So if you get like sad or angry or tired or hungry, just know that all that stuff is normal, and that's just part of you letting go. Instead of being like, what the heck, why am I all upset? Just be like, okay, this is letting go, I'm releasing this. And you have to let the emotion, you got to move the emotions to like let the pattern actually get out of your sphere. So it's like your soul. Anyway, you have to like actually let the emotions leave you, because that's how it like locks onto you. So if that comes up, that's fine, let it go. If that doesn't come up, maybe you just process it a little bit smoother, and that's cool too. All right, thanks so much. If you like this video, please like, comment, subscribe, and let me know how this is going for you. Be really curious to see what changes you notice happen after this. Thanks. Okay. All right, if you picked healing number 2, this is your healing. It feels like work stuff. Let me see if I can just lay out the structure of what the pattern is. Okay, so I see someone just like working so hard, like digging into a hole. It's like, in cartoons when you would see the cartoon character, like they start digging and digging and digging and digging, and then like they go faster and faster into the hole. That's kind of what's going on. So this feels like a work thing. So what wants to come in and replace this pattern is like some kind of solid foundation for you to build on top of. So it's like for anyone that picked this one, it's like with work stuff, career stuff, purpose stuff, creativity. Basically what happens is every time you get like, most people here have like a ton of momentum, a ton of motivation, and are so willing to do it, but you just don't have that foundation. So then all of your work is built on a bad foundation, then you kind of go down into that hole. So first, like all the work that you do, it doesn't like build on top of each other. It just kind of like falls away and evaporates, and then it's like every single day you have to start from square one. Not so helpful when it comes to building a business or career or making money and that kind of thing. So that's what we're gonna clear for you today. All right, let me just tap in, see if I can figure out what the source of this is for most of us. So when I'm doing this, I'm just kind of like reading everybody. It's like, when you do a speech and you read the crowd to feel what their energy is like. I'm doing the same thing. I'm just a little bit more intuitive and a little bit more sensitive than most people, but everyone can do this once you learn how to do it. Okay, so this one feels like it comes from a father figure. This is like wanting to please your father figure, wanting to prove to your father figure. It's like, yeah, I work hard just like you. There's nothing inherently wrong with hard work if it's joyful, but when it's like the grinding work, it's like, do you guys see how that pattern works where you just dig yourself into the hole, you have to start from square one, you have to work even harder. So that's how the energetics pattern basically sustains itself in you. So if you want to let that go, it's okay to work hard, but there's a difference. When you're working really hard and you're making that progress, you feel that momentum, you feel it building. Like, I just get this sense of like you're moving up. Yeah, it's just like clearer and more direct rather than falling down into the thing. So anyway, it's okay to work hard, but like you can feel that there's a joy and an alignment in the hard work that's right for you. So we're going to get rid of that whole pattern. So for most of us, what was going on here, so if, just let a memory come up, a picture, a metaphor, whatever. So the memory that comes up for me, because all these patterns that I clear for you, they apply to me too. That's why I do all the different healings, because then I get the benefit of all the clearings. But I had this memory come up with my dad, and he was trying to teach me the value of like manual labor. So what happened was, as a kid, he would make me clean up the dog poop. That was my chore. We had this huge yard, and it sucked. And a lot of the time, I started to hate the weekends, because I'd have to get up early and then I'd have to go clean everything up. So it would take forever. It'd be hot, and I could feel that my dad really wanted me to do it. So there's a part of me that was like, this sucks, I don't want to do this. But the other part of me knew that there was something valuable in it. And what my dad was trying to give to me was like, it's like, for this group, when you work really hard at something and you give it your all, like, it kind of washes away and cleanses all the other stuff. For example, I use this pattern in physical fitness a lot, but a lot of times if I'm up in my head, I'm stressed out, I go for a run, and if I exert myself hard physically, then it clears my mind, and then I come back to whatever I need to do, and I'm much happier, much more aligned, and then I can work hard but do it from a joyful state. So that was what was trying to get handed down to you from that father figure. So let's let go of the falling into the hole, so you can continually try to appease this father figure. And instead, so I'm going to clear that pattern out. So if you're ready to let go of that pattern, all you have to do is energetically just say yes. You might feel me working on you, you might not, either way is cool. You might get like a little hot, buzzy, tingly feeling, or you might not get anything. Either one's fine, doesn't matter. It's working either way, as long as you give me the approval to do it. Okay. Okay. Most of us will probably get mad. And that's understandable, because it's like, you've been working so hard, and then in order to break this pattern, you can't get that acknowledgement from that father figure. So you might have a thing come up where it's like your boss or supervisor or mentor or older brother or whatever. You might have like just finished working on a project and just worked really hard and really pushed yourself, and you're waiting for that acknowledgement to come in, and it won't come in. So the trick here is you can't get pissed off by it, because if you get all pissed off and worked up, then it's like you're re-engaging with the pattern. It's no different than like when you're breaking up with someone. At the very end of the relationship, you say, hey, I'm done. And then what they do is they try to do something that they know will get under your skin as a way of latching back on. So you just have to accept that you won't get the acknowledgement on that thing, and then that's your way of confirming the deletion of this pattern. We're going to replace it with a new pattern. So let me see what that new pattern is. I just get the feeling of someone like basking in the sun, some kind of like sun tanning. So if what you're trying to do is get tan, here's how this pattern works. All you have to do is like make sure you're not getting burnt by the sun. You got to put on your sunscreen, but you just lay there. And even though it feels like you're not doing anything, you totally are achieving that thing that you want. There is a limit where if you go above that limit, then you kind of burn yourself out. So that's, if you want that new pattern, that's what's going to happen when you work hard. Basically, if you'll be able to work hard, you'll be able to get to that top point, but you'll start noticing that there's like that burnout point. And then at that burnout point, you stop, because if you work past that, you used to do that to try to win somebody's love and approval and acceptance. But now it'll hurt if you do that, and it'll kind of backfire, because most of the people in this group are very strong-willed and like super determined, which is great, but like it's great up to a point. And there's a more effective way too, so that'll come up for you. So you kind of have to say no to the old stuff, and then you say like, okay, I'm open to a new way of having things happen for me, and then stuff's gonna start happening like much more easily, much smoother. So if you're ready for that, you kind of just give me energetic permission, and then I'll insert that into your field. Do your best not to fall asleep if you're listening to these, like late at night or something. It's like if you stay awake during it, it helps ground into you a little bit more. It's okay if it happens, but you'll just feel more in control of it, which is really important to this group. Okay, cool. So that'll stabilize in your field. So now just be on the lookout for a situation that looks like what I explained. Do the things I said, and then you'll lock in the pattern. The reason that happens is so that you retain free will, because I can help you clear this stuff, but your higher self goes, no, like I want to make sure that my human self gets the final choice in what happens in my life, and that's a really good thing. All right, so thanks so much for hanging out. If you enjoyed this, please like, comment, and subscribe, and let me know how it goes for you. I'll be really excited to hear, like, when you come across that moment where the person doesn't acknowledge you, and then you have the new experience of something happening like really, really easy without you having to work super hard. For some of you, that might be like really confusing, but it would be kind of cool. So if you have a cool story, please share it in the comments, and I'll see you soon. Bye. Okay, group number 3. So if you picked healing number 3, this one's for you. So this group is like so like gentle and sensitive and kind. Yeah, okay, so it's like for you guys, it feels like you're so soft and gentle, and like given everything that's going on in the world right now, it's just like you kind of feel like everything's pressing in on you. Yeah, it's like you're really sad for the world, and you're feeling people's pain a little too much. So that's what we're going to work on. Okay, so this is super common. Just scanning everybody and like seeing what the pattern is. So for this group, you try to absorb people's pain as a way of removing it from them, but then it affects you. And you're really compassionate and kind and sensitive, and people would like, they'll say like you're quiet or you're delicate, you're gentle soul. But the thing is, you're actually super strong because you're used to like dealing with all that stuff, but you're piling more and more weight onto you. It's like going into the gym, and then somebody is like lifting heavy weights, and then you're like, oh, that looks like really heavy for you. And then you go grab some of them and you put them on your like squat rack or something. And then you look across at the other person in the gym, you're like, oh my gosh, that looks so heavy for you. And then you grab their weights and you put it on and you're like, ooh, this is getting really tough. And then you see, you know, two other people and you're like, oh my God. And then you can't move and you can't go anywhere and it overwhelms you. So that's the pattern. So for you, I'm going to do something where I spur a memory for you, or a picture or a metaphor to come up. Don't think about it too much, just allow something to come up. Some of us are blocking it because it's like, oh my gosh, I can't take it anymore. But we have to get to the heart of it in order to change the pattern. So you don't have to if you don't want to, but if you want the benefit of this, then you should probably look at it. Okay, so it's like I'm getting a bunch of different types. You could have seen somebody in pain. I don't know, like your mom not receiving the love that you feel like she deserves. Or it's like a dad not feeling appreciated. I mean, it could be like anyone. But what you do is like, you see someone being affected by somebody else, they have a bunch of pain, and then you try to take it on. So the intention in that's pretty sweet. It's like, let me help you out. I'll take that burden from you. But it actually doesn't help either of you. And here's why. So if we carry that gym metaphor forward, it's like if you go to the gym and you see people that are lifting like really heavy weight, or they're lifting weight and it looks like they're struggling a little bit with it, and you take it away from them and then you put it on, what happens is they become weaker. They become much more frail and delicate, and then they can't like sustain themselves. This is different. It's like a different thing. Like what this group needs is a new definition around compassion. Compassion is not absorbing other people's stuff. Because like with the gym metaphor, if you take their weights from them, then they don't get strong. And then ultimately, like that's the least compassionate thing that you can do, is because then next time they go into the gym, they're going to be even weaker. And then they're going to be even weaker and weaker and weaker and weaker. So then they're going to rely more on you, which isn't good for them and definitely isn't good for you. So, okay, I'm being a little bit intense. Reason is because I know what it feels like. And you're just doing this because you have a big heart and because you care. So what we're going to do is we're going to learn how to care in a different way. For this group, what I want you to start thinking of it is like you're spotting them. So in case you're not like into weightlifting, that's the person that goes over and when someone's like squatting, they stand right behind them with their hands ready. And if the other person struggles too much, then they pick it up and then they help them put it back on the bar, but they never take the weight and put it on their own shoulders. They just basically are standing behind them. So the one in the front is holding all the weight. The one behind is like holding it, ready to lift the bar if they need to. That's like a better way of approaching it for them and for you. So I'm picking up some resistance in this group where it's like, no, but you don't understand, like this person really needs this help, and you know, and like they can't do it. And I want to share a story with you. So that gym metaphor, that actually happened to me. And I remember one day in particular, I went into the gym and I saw a kid that was there and he was working out with his mom, and his mom had no idea what she was doing. She was just kind of following him around and being like really supportive because you could tell that the kid wanted to be there. I looked closer at the kid and he had one hand that was regular and the other hand was kind of like, it wasn't like formed the normal way that a lot of us have hands. So what happened was he was working out. He saw me and I was lifting heavier weights than he was because he's younger. And he saw that, and I don't think I'll ever forget this, but he like turned to his mom and he's like, I want to lift those weights. And the mom got a little bit nervous, obviously, because she wanted to make sure that he was doing things within his ability. But the point is, it planted that seed of potential in him. And that's how you can care for people. You can give them that little seed of like, this is what's possible for you. And if you do that, it will feel a little weird at first, but then eventually you'll start seeing how your care like bolsters people forward, and you don't get any codependence, clinginess stuff, and it'll just feel nicer. And then that crushing in feeling that I was talking about in the beginning, where like everything overwhelms you, the reason it overwhelms you is because you've tried to absorb everybody around you's pain or heartache or sadness or whatever. So this will kind of like hold your boundary, and then you still can like go help them, but like not at your own expense. So if that's a pattern that you'd like, I'll go ahead and help you switch those around. So yeah, just take a deep breath. Make sure you're not doing any other things. Pay attention to your body, your physical body, like the outline of you. Okay, I'm removing the old one. Let's help you put in the new one. We're clearing out the belief, like, I can take all their pain for them. And then instead we're going to insert into that void that we just created. Let me get the words right. It's like I'm there with them every step of the way into their own greatness. So if that's okay for you, then energetically just kind of give me permission to help you stabilize that in your field. And if you don't want it, you don't have to take it. You always have a choice. So as this pattern shifts, you'll see it shift. Just pay attention. You might find yourself really sensitive, especially like physically. If you get sick or like you don't feel super great in your body, I didn't do that to you. That is your pattern. I'm showing you what you've been doing to yourself. So the reason that has to happen is so you can see it and you can go like, oh, this is the pattern. Do I want to keep this or do I want to let this go? So that's the deal there. So if that happens, that's kind of what you've been doing to yourself on every single level. Like not just physically, but like emotionally, mentally, spiritually, all that stuff. So if that happens, then you can see it and you go like, oh, I don't want to do this anymore. And that's good enough to clear the pattern. So that is your healing. So thanks so much for hanging out. Please let me know how it goes. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe. And this one feels like challenging, but just imagine how many people you can help when you're not suffering anymore. All right, thanks so much. See you guys next time. Last but definitely not least, group number 4. If you picked number 4, then this is your healing. Let me see what it's about. Okay, so it's like, this group is just like, I don't know what to do next. It's like really, it's a lot of confusion and feeling super disoriented by life. Let's see if we can get you some clarity. Yeah, I mean, you might feel like, yeah, it's just like debilitating. You might have had like things happen from the coronavirus or family stuff. Either of those probably had like a strong effect on your just sense of like, what do I even do? I don't even know how to get through this. And like, it's so disorienting that you don't even know the next step. So let me see where this pattern started, and then we'll discreate it and replace it with a better program. Okay, so as a kid, we asked like the teacher, what do we do? What's like the next thing? And then the teacher didn't answer us, and then we just kind of like moved forward with that confusion still inside us. That's like, that's a general metaphor for what happens somewhere during your personal history. So it's like you were just really confused, and then everything just moved forward anyway, and you were just like, okay, I guess this is what we're doing. Yeah, and then you just kind of like, okay, I guess that's how life works. Man, that was a really subtle one. So the reason the coronavirus stuff connects to it is because it's been amplifying everything, heightening the emotions. This pattern feels like it's a more subtle pattern. It's not normally affecting you, but like as the emotions have gotten ramped up, it's like you guys are digging around for like clues, and you're like turning over stones. You're finding the stones that are like buried underneath more stones, and then you pull it up and then you're like, oh, here's this pattern. So yeah, if you've just been feeling like super confused, don't know where to go next in your career, don't know next where to go with your family, or just like next steps on whatever project you got going, then this is what it'll work on. So let me see how we can heal that. Okay, so this one is just like, it's like almost like you didn't want to be rude to ask for clarification or like demand clarification before you moved forward. So there's yeah, it's just like you're being really polite, or you're afraid of speaking up and saying like, no, I don't understand this. You might think that makes you look dumb or uninformed or whatever. Obviously that's not true. But the emotions that you felt when you're younger, you probably didn't know how to express that with the same nuance and skill that you have now when you communicate. So you can just let that pattern go. This feels like a much more minor pattern, which may have like a wider effect in your life. You might see it show up in a bunch of different areas. It's not like a super heavy pattern. It's one that you just kind of can drop and let go of. So if you want to let go of it, I'll help you do that. Just imagine a pillar going down down through your body all the way into the center of the earth, and then breathe back up through that pillar, bringing all the energy, that stable energy, like the center of the earth knows exactly what it needs to do to remain the center of the earth. It's very steady, stable, steadfast. So you're going to pull that energy up into you. And then I'm going to work on you on the back end. So the belief is like, I feel rude if I ask questions. It's rude to ask questions. It's rude to slow people down. So we're going to delete that. So the truth of the matter is, whoever was explaining the thing to you that gave you the questions, their job is to make sure that you understand it. That's why they're the one telling you what to do. And there's nothing wrong with you asking questions. If anyone watching this picked number 4 and you have questions for me, put them in the comments and I will either address them like directly or in a video, depending on how many there are. So we're going to stabilize, if you want, this new energetic pattern. There's nothing rude about being clear. You're not like disrupting anyone. It's like clarity is your right. So that'll stabilize in your field. Most of us, you're probably going to feel like really good and centered after this. It's like, wow, that happened quick. But then you'll also see it, as long as you pay attention, you'll see it show up in your daily life. So yeah, thanks so much for hanging out. And if you have any questions, comments, whatever, comment below. Please consider liking, subscribing, and commenting. And yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Thanks.